Hi everybody, back again with James and the Giant Peach by, I think I'm not going to say it this time. Do you remember who the author is? I bet if you don't, you could ask one of your parents, but see if you can remember, because we're on chapter 10. So you've heard it 9 times now. Let's see what happens. In the last chapter, do you remember what James found? If you said that he found a hole in the peach, then you are right. Let's see what he does with this hole. It was quite a large hole, the sort of thing that an animal about the size of a fox might have made. James knelt down in front of it and poked his head and shoulders inside. He crawled in. He kept crawling. This isn't just a hole, he thought excitedly. It's a tunnel. The tunnel was damp and murky, and all around him there was the curious bittersweet smell of fresh peach. The floor was soggy under his knees. The walls were wet and sticky, and peach juice was dripping from the ceiling. James opened his mouth and caught some of it on his tongue. It tasted delicious. He was crawling uphill now, as though the tunnel were leading straight toward the very center of that gigantic fruit. Every few seconds he paused and took a bite out of the wall. The peach flesh was sweet and juicy and marvelously refreshing. He crawled on for several more yards, and then suddenly, bang! The top of his head bumped into something extremely hard blocking his way. He glanced up. In front of him, there was a solid wall that seemed at first as though it were made of wood. He touched it with his fingers. It certainly felt like wood, except that it was very jagged and full of deep grooves. "Good heavens," he said, "I know what this is. I've come to the stone in the middle of the peach." Then he noticed that there was a small door cut into the face of the peach stone. He gave a push. It swung open. He crawled through it, and before he had time to glance up and see where he was, he heard a voice saying, "Look who's here." And another one said, "We've been waiting for you." James stopped and stared at the speakers. His face was white with horror. He started to stand up, but his knees were shaking so much he had to sit down again on the floor. He glanced behind him, thinking he could bolt back into the tunnel the way he had come, but the doorway had disappeared. There was now only a solid brown wall behind him. Oh my goodness, there he is, crawling right through that peach. Who do you think is inside that peach? Who's talking? I can't wait to see. We will find out tomorrow in chapter 11. Why don't you take some guesses and try and figure out who might be inside that peach? I'll see you tomorrow.